Oh, hi. I'm not John Crump, just in case you're wondering. And John Crump may or may not be joining us. He said he's in stealth mode today. So, with that being said, I'm going to bring on Xander, fellow Florida man. How's it going, buddy?
Hey, how's it going? I'm still catching up on
Good, good.
sleep. How's things
Uh
been down
oh.
here? Yeah,
Good, good. I just had
good.
hail today, so I had to move my Hyundai into the garage so it wouldn't get damaged. So, did you fly up? Did you drive up? How'd you get
I
to Maker's
flew.
Match?
Yeah, no, I
Oh,
flew.
oh, right. Yeah, I saw the picture from the window
Yeah,
of the
yeah, yeah,
plane.
yeah. I was not going to have the 2 days or whatever it would take to comfortably drive it. I know some people did it in one shot, but from Florida to, yeah, I'm not. Nope. So I flew, which a lot of people were like, "Oh my God, you're going to fly with printed guns." I'm like, "Yeah, it's really not that bad. It's pretty straightforward process."
Well,
I think,
that's a good question. So down here in Florida,
yeah,
when you bring like one or two AKs with you, they're like, that's it? That's all you're checking with you?
yeah, pretty
It's like,
much. So I'm not going to lie, PA's airport coming back was surprisingly, I don't want to say casual, but like even the TSA guy was like, "Oh, what you got?" Like, and then we ran it through the scanner, which is like right next to the check-in, which is also super convenient.
oh, wow.
And
Yeah, it's never that way.
yeah, right. So it was like you've probably flown out of OIA with guns. You got to like go down a level, go over, pass by the
Yeah.
tumbleweeds. Like there's a whole for PA flying out of Pittsburgh, it's like right there. It's the check-in counter, and then there's your TSA checkpoint. So I walk over, and the guy's like, "Oh, cool. You want to see the screen?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I go behind, like looking at the X-ray of everything, and yeah. So it was,
The red
it
rods
was
and all
real.
that.
Yeah, it was a friendly airport to fly in and out of. Definitely didn't have any issues
Cool.
there, so that was nice. That was a pleasant surprise.
That's neat. So, looks like it was raining and cold.
It was freezing, and I know everybody up north is going. It wasn't that cold. I had a couple
Yeah.
Vidyaz is standing next to me the whole time. He's like, "Dude, this is a nice day for us. Like, I don't know what you're complaining about." But it was like, at one point there was at least sleet, possibly snow. I was dying a little on the inside, but that was mostly the day after. So that was mostly on range day. The day of the match
Hmm.
we had a little bit of rain, but I thought it was all in all pretty decent weather.
So now the event was Saturday, or tell how many days was the event?
Yeah. So this year the event was really 2 days. We had Saturday for the actual competition piece. We did the actual makers match Saturday, and then we had our little staff match after that. And then on Sunday we did open range day, kind of show and tell day, so that people could come out and
Oh,
show
cool.
off what they had and stuff that maybe they weren't necessarily competing with or didn't want to compete with, but still wanted
Hmm.
to show it go. There was a lot of social media happening that day for sure. Lots of pictures, lots of video.
Yeah, I saw IPS had his 50, his
Yeah,
50.
he brought out the 50. That thing is awesome. Um,
I want to
Heavier
put
than I
one of those
remembered it
stocks
being. Yeah, I really need to get my hands on one. I might have to call those guys down by you.
down by me. You mean Safety Harbor Firearms?
Yeah, aren't they somewhere between you and I?
No, Tampa.
Tampa. Oh,
Tampa.
who put them over there? All right, fine. We'll
Safety
call those
Harbor.
guys. Yeah,
Yep, yep.
I forgot.
Yeah, well, Walt's a
But
good guy. Actually, frick. So just geography sucks. I'm going to be going through that area, and I have some business to do with Walter, but I'm going to be with my wife, and I won't be able to stop and do the business that I needed to do.
bummer. Are you coming up
Yes.
to anything in the next month?
Well, I was probably the next couple of weeks. I was going to go over to Tampa to visit Walter for actually the AUG project. So he's got a press and all that.
Oh, for the gas block. I was like, why do we need
Yeah,
a press? Yeah,
yeah.
it's coming back to me. But yeah, the match went great this year. I think it went extremely smoothly. There was really no issues or hangups. Snow came home with a trunk full of trophies. Um, I think Matt, Constant Tinkerer, he put up quite a showing this year, but he did switch up his game this year. He did mostly printed builds, which was surprising. Usually he does some metal. He does a lot of metalworking, which is always
Uh-huh.
extremely impressive. But this year, it looked like everything was 3D printed, which
Oh,
was
cool.
a cool shift there
Now,
for him.
you compete, right? You compete with your guns on
No,
a.
because no, well, oh yeah, on a regular basis. But like for the makers match, I don't compete because I help
Oh,
Rob
okay.
and
All right. So
Edgar
you're
organize.
just
Yeah, I help
organizing.
organize, so it's kind of like uncouth to compete. Like it would be weird if I come home with like trophies and stuff for an event that I'm helping organize. Um, but I do compete on a regular basis at like normal 3-gun
Okay.
competitions.
All right. Because I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah,
I keep forgetting that you don't actually partake, at least on
right. Yeah, no,
Saturdays.
no, no. I try and make sure that everybody else has a good time and make sure everything else runs smoothly. I usually help with the
So,
intake process too to make sure that what we're seeing isn't unsafe or goes against any of the rules.
mhm. Cool, cool. Now, so Snow competed, Mr. Snow, we're talking about
Yes.
a fellow Floridian. He competed, looks like AR type.
Yeah, yeah, that is accurate. I think he had a AR 00, the AR zero, not 00, the AR zero, the
The
ghost
zero
gunner
percent
from
lower.
a, yep, from a block of aluminum there. I have one myself.
Cool.
Um, so it was exciting to see one of those out there.
I have
Defense
not done one of
distributed.
those yet.
You should. It's quite a experience. Um, especially if you're only used to doing 80s. It's a
I,
jump in
I'll tell
stuff.
you, the GG3 on the 80%. Holy cow, that is so much better.
Yeah, I haven't done one of those yet. Honestly, I have several 80s sitting in a box that I need to do, but I did
Hmm.
two. I did two of the AR zeros, and then I did a 1911 frame.
Yeah, and being that
But
I've stolen my ghost gunner from another YouTuber, hopefully he forgets about it.
oh, well, there you go.
And it wasn't John Crumb.
I didn't know he had one, so there you go.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
one big
Actually,
thing
Florida
from,
YouTuber.
huh? A Florida
Florida
YouTube.
Florida gun tuber. Yep. Hmm.
I think we need a Florida meetup
Oh yeah,
just
yeah.
for
Xander, I don't
fun.
think I've met
Yeah.
you in person.
No, because you didn't come to any of the St. Augustine events, and I
Hmm.
didn't go
Yeah,
to the Bitcoin thing in Miami.
I didn't go either, but
So
I had conflicts each Florida makers match. So
sure, sure. I think you're just avoiding me. Just whatever you do, don't fly to the event for me. We want everybody to make it safe. Um,
thanks.
but one big thing, one big shift we saw this year was there was always like a lot of kit builds, 80%,
Hmm.
P80s, things like that.
Okay.
This year, there was a lot more printed firearms than there were kit builds, which
Okay.
was a
Very cool.
radical shift from year one. Year one was a lot of kits and not as many printed. This year, it was a lot of printed stuff. And now we're starting to see like fully printed. Well, okay, I can't say fully printed because that apparently ruffles feathers, but we're seeing things like orcas and arcs and
Hmm.
things
Hmm.
that are more printed than not printed. We saw a couple of designs that I don't think had seen the light of day yet,
Neat.
at least on camera or on video. There was a there was a printed DIY printed CZ Bren 805. 805, yeah, a Bren 805 there. That was pretty cool. There was the Set Me L, which I think
Hmm.
that was its debut out in the sunlight. So that was really cool. 3D Arms had his prototype out there, which he's going to
Oh,
kill me
the
because
Slam Fire 50.
not the Slamfire. No, that would be interesting to compete with for sure. No, he's calling it the Bobcat, and it's a delayed 9 millimeter rifle slash PDW. Very very cool. Uses Scorpion mags, so it already has a place in my heart immediately.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and I'm sure he'll do other mags later. Well, maybe he won't. I don't know. But do you really need anything beyond Scorpion mags? I mean, that's really where I'm at. So, but that was the big shift this
So,
year.
like makers match first year, what was the most common firearm there?
I couldn't even tell you. There was a lot of 80% metal and
Okay.
printed, or no, well, metal 80%, and there were a lot of like U-bar lowers and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Um,
okay.
I want to say there were one or two Evos that year, but that was a lot of it was sort of, I don't want to say um, simpler builds, but definitely like more. And just look at what happened to GunCAD in the last 3 years too.
Mm,
You know, we've
It's
seen an
it's
explosion
it's
in dev
blown
work.
up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen a lot of development increase in the last couple of years, probably thanks to COVID. Um, well, I blame two things specifically. One, COVID, because everybody was home and bored. But two, resources. You look at printers these days, you can go and buy an Ender 3 for like, what, $100 at Micro Center
When
if
you're
you're
lucky,
lucky
yeah.
enough to have one. Yeah. Um, and now we're seeing what is going to be. I'm really excited for next year and how many people are going to actually participate, or like how many more people are going to participate next year, because we're seeing the advent of like truly push button printers in a price range that hobbyists can afford.
Uh,
Um,
I'll tell you. So if people are tuning in that aren't regular viewers, uh, the bamboo. I mean, we're the bamboo printer is something that I thought was going to be 10 years in the future. I was kind of that very literally is a push button printer.
yeah, well, and that's the thing, right? So I'm more of a Voron person myself because I'm like, well, my brain splits two directions. One is I'm grumpy and I think everybody should know how to build a printer to print, right?
Hmm.
Like that's just the nerd in me. And, you know, it's kind of like those car guys that are like, if you can't drive a stick, you shouldn't be driving. You know, it's kind of same idea. But the other half of my brain goes, you know, what'd be really cool is if everybody was doing this. And so the easier it is to get a printer out of the box and hit go. And that's basically what Bamboo and a lot of these,
Hmm. Hmm.
we'll call them next gen units, are doing. The more people are going to be printing firearms. So the more
Yes.
people that are doing it, the more parts we get. Hopefully, the more attention we get from manufacturers saying, "Hey, people are doing this. We should support it." Um, and all in all, the hobby just grows, right? And growth is good.
So I'll tell you. All right, in you and I both, our day jobs are similar, or we have similar skill sets at our day jobs. Let me say it that way.
That's fair.
OPSEC is a big deal on something like the bamboo because it's more of the Apple approach to 3D printing,
It's true.
where shoot if I know how the files get there, to the printer.
Yeah. So I actually brought that up on Twitter and got shamed. But I do think that it should be at least a consideration. Now, 95% of us don't really care, right? We're in
Hmm.
states that
Hmm.
allow this. It's obviously federally legal. Unless you're in what, one or two, maybe three
I,
states that are
I
now
mean,
really grumpy about
uh,
DIY and home manufacture, you probably don't need to worry about it. But for those of you that are, you should at least be aware that your data is leaving your house. It is going to a cloud that you don't have control over, that
right.
can be audited and recorded and everything else.
Hmm.
So,
Or
you
anything,
know,
fill in the blank. I mean, I, so my home automation paradigm is nothing leaves my network.
right.
You know,
And that's how,
any.
yeah,
So I'm making the exception. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not an absolutist on that. I'd like to be. So I am making an exception with the bamboo because it just works so damn good, and it's unfortunate that that's the candy luring me into the van.
that's fair. And again, doesn't matter. We're in Florida. They don't care. Florida doesn't care.
Uh,
You know,
yeah, but
federally it doesn't matter. You know, like
yeah,
I'm with you. The less data leaving my network, the happier I am, or at least
yes,
obfuscated data.
right, right.
Bamboo does say straight up in their, TOS and all that fun stuff. It's not a honeypot, Doge. I never suggested it was. What I'm saying is you should be aware of what data is leaving your network. Be conscious of it. That's all. I'm not saying they're out to get you. I'm not saying it's a plot or the feds are out, behind Bamboo, but you will see stuff going to the cloud. So if you're uncomfortable with where you are at geographically, having your prints, you know, being recorded essentially
Yeah.
by a third party, then you should be at least aware of that. You know what I mean?
That's why when I was doing, Octoprint with Spaghetti Detective, I was running Spaghetti Detective on my network. I was running my own copy of it.
Yeah.
I wasn't running, Spaghetti Detective in the cloud.
Well, and again, I'm the
It-
same way. And this is where my brain splits again because, I'm saying this isn't the best thing for privacy or security, but
Mhm.
it also gets more and more people into it. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm all for that category. And frankly, there again, I think 95% of the people that are printing firearms are doing everything by the book, right? You might have some fringe offset that is doing stuff they probably shouldn't, or they shouldn't be for their region or their area. I'm not arguing that that is correct, but I am arguing that that is the law where they are.
Yep.
So,
Yep. So over the years, there have been 3 makers matches right now.
yes.
What have been the distinct differences between like year 1, year 2, year 3?
Well, year one, I think we were all sort of figuring out how we wanted this to look, right? There was a lot of learning as we go, that's for sure. Um, sorry.
I literally did a video
Yeah.
of like
Yeah, the
labeling my
comments are
hard
killing me.
drives.
Yeah. But year one, I think there was a lot of learning. It was still a great event. We had a lot of great sponsors. Everybody was having fun. I think on the community side, though, developers and printers started learning what was important from just a gun design perspective, right? I think that there was a lot of designs that were coming out to compete with that, didn't have extractors, weren't feeding properly, never been oiled,
Mhm.
probably, haven't been to the range that much. Because one thing that folks were telling me even that year was like, oh, I took it to the range and it had a few hangups, but I didn't think about it. But when you're under the clock and you're trying to move and shoot quickly, that 1 or 2 hangups can be,
Oh yeah.
a lot of difference for your score. Year two, I think we started to see more reliable prints, more reliable designs. I think we saw some major development jumps from year one to year two, which was awesome. Year two, I think we had everything pretty much well oiled for the actual event piece, like how we would run it, squatting, all that good stuff. This year was just almost a whole nother category, and we had a whole new group of people. So that was what was really cool about this year was we have the diehards that'll come, across the country, right? But we had
Mhm.
maybe half were new people, right? They were folks that
Wow,
weren't
that's
local
great.
to Florida or were closer to PA than they were to Florida. Either way, we saw a lot of new faces, a lot of new people getting involved, and I'm hoping that spreads the fire a little bit further, right? Gets more and more people involved and interested in DIY and actually using your DIY, not just printing it and putting it on a shelf.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, but yeah.
So I'm assuming as years progressed, reliability of the firearms progressed.
Reliability definitely improved. And I think folks, especially veterans now that had been to 1 or 2 matches, had started to get a feel for competing. Because that was
Mhm.
one thing that Rob asks every time is, all right, is this your first time competing? Show of hands. And it's usually a pretty high number. And then subsequent years, year 2 and year 3 now, it was, okay, was Maker's Match the only competition that you shot in? And it's a lot of hands there again. So
Mhm.
I think that
Mhm.
there's and as somebody that shoots competitively on a regular basis, there's a learning curve there. It's not something that you can just pick up one day and decide to start. I mean, you can, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of things that you learn as you go, like trying to keep the course of fire in your head, trying to make sure that you're not shooting through targets. I'm guilty of that one. Making sure that you're moving in the right order, hitting all the targets. Like there's a lot in your head when you're shooting. It's not just sitting at the range and plinking at a paper target, right?
Oh
So,
yeah, yeah. I didn't realize I should have invited Mr. Snow on for this
oh, El Champion.
El Champion.
You could probably still just Shanghai him in here.
No, let's see. Let's see.
I don't
How do
know.
I manage that? So, somebody asked earlier about flying with firearms, what's the procedure? And I
Yeah.
usually just run with my guns out like this into the terminal.
Yeah, typically always a good choice. No. So on a serious note, I used a hard case. It is pretty much, there are differences from airline to airline, but for the most part, you need a hard case or even a hard suitcase to put your firearms in. They can't be rattling around. They have to be secured, right? You need some sort of compression foam, molding, whatever you're going to do to keep the firearm from floating around. They can't be loaded. Most airlines allow you to pack your ammunition in the case so long as it is being stored properly, as in not in a Ziploc bag, not loose. It needs to be in like either the box that came in, with the little cutouts, or I think they say like plastic or like fiber, so like wood, some kind of case to hold your ammo. But as long
So
as they're
a lot of
unloaded
them,
in a hard case
so
and locked, it's pretty straightforward. It's very easy
yeah.
to get done.
So no ammo in the chamber of the firearm.
Right.
You can actually have magazines loaded that are not in
That
the
depends
mag
on the
well.
that one does depend on the airline.
Okay,
Some
and
some
and
airlines
so
some airlines will consider that properly stored. Some don't. Some don't want it in the mag. They want it in a box.
so Southwest, for instance, unless they've changed it, so always go check
Yes. Always check every
with
time just to be safe because rules
yeah
change
the
all the
website.
time. Yeah.
So they say last I checked, Southwest said 11 pounds of ammo, no more than 11 pounds of ammo.
Yeah. There is a weight restriction. Yeah. I don't
That
know
the
how they test that. If it's in the
I've actually had them weigh.
Oh, really? Separate? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But recently, like I just open, they see, and they close, and that's it.
So I'm going to be honest.
They,
They didn't even look at mine. They had me fill out like a little
the
postcard
card.
saying, "Who are you? What's your phone number? What's your address?" in case we have to send stuff or whatever if it gets lost, which is always
Hmm.
comforting. Um, but you fill out this little postcard, slap it in the case. They didn't even look at mine. I locked the
Oh,
case
really?
back up.
Okay.
Yeah, I locked the case back up, and I went over to. There's a separate TSA checkpoint for what do they call it? Oversized luggage, I
Hmm.
think,
Hmm.
is technically how they categorize it. But you take it down there, or somebody will even cart it down there for you. They run it through a separate scanner. They give you a thumbs up, thumbs down, or we have a question, we have to open it. I didn't have any questions. They didn't open it. They just did the X-ray, and away it went. And then I went off to TSA and stood in line and did the usual procedure for my backpack. But yeah, it was really easy. It's really not a painful process by any means.
So I'm going to answer Johnny Barr's question kind
Oh,
of
I'm
in a
not even.
longer roundabout way. So years ago, so I'm going back a little over 10 years. Flying, they would actually weigh my ammo. In Southwest, they want less than 11 pounds of ammo. It needs to be either Southwest rules at the time, in a magazine, or in the factory box. Now, I'm sure if you bought 1,000 rounds of 9 mil in a bulk box, that would not be acceptable. They would want it in the little plastic thingies in a little like 50
Yeah.
round box. Recently, in the last couple of years, like 3 4 years that I've been flying with firearms, that I've just I go in, I tell them I want to declare a firearm, I open the case, they look at it, you put the card in, close it, and usually they want to X-ray it or whatever, and you want to get there a little early, make sure they get it through the X-ray machine. And just like Xander said, that you get the thumbs up that they don't have to open it up. Um, People typically frown on using combination locks. You want to use a key lock because if they ask you for the combination, then they have the
Well,
ability to get in there.
so TSA locks, they have a key.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you
They
use
have the
this
override
TSA
key. So I use combination locks because I'm lazy and I don't want to lose a key. But they do have the
Aha.
key to override it if they need to. So
Yeah. So now when I would fly out of like Iceland MacArthur at Suffolk County, and I'm flying Southwest, they would actually, Suffolk County PD would write down the serial number of the firearm. Now, this was all pre my experience of 3D printed guns, so I'm talking longer than 15 years ago. Um, I I'm assuming since New York is the land to know, they'd probably lose their freaking mind and arrest you. I haven't flown. Let me think about this.
So I have only flown commercially with unserialized firearms, and it's never been a question at all.
Oh, okay.
This is in the last 5-6 years. I've probably flown a couple of times like that, and never had so much as a question. They never asked for a serial number. They never wrote down a serial number. Jordan, yes, you can. I did it.
Yeah, I've been doing it for a stink long time.
They even recommend it on most airline, unless you're just saying you cannot, like, don't do it, but you can. I do it.
Some of your gun cases, like a rifle case, will have 4 locks, so you get the TSA key to like.
If you really want to mess with the TSA, you get one with different keys for each lock. Have different override codes or different override keys.
Well, first off, I mean, a rake and a pick, you'd probably open all of those in a few seconds anyhow.
Go watch Lockpicking Lawyer. There's no good lock. They don't exist.
Oh my! I saw one. I'm like, this was like the lock from the future, and I'm like, I have no idea how. And he had that done in 10, 20 seconds. I was like, no way. All right, I mean, I get what Jordan's saying here. Like, they don't want anyone to have access. That makes a lot of sense. I've never been turned away. So let's see. What new designs did you see that you're like, holy cow, that's so cool?
So I was only looking at Southwest here, but it says you should retain a key or combination to the lock and may use any brand or type of lock to secure the firearm case, including TSA recognized locks. So I was flying Southwest, so that was the last one that I read. But yeah, they don't care about TSA locks.
I would have to read. So the regulations that control aviation is the FAR, Federal Aviation Regulations, and the AIM, the Airman's Information Manual. And I would have to go through the FAR AIM, as they call it, and to review what it says. But as far as I know, if I'm the pilot and it's my plane, I can do whatever the heck I want.
I do what I want.
My damn plane.
But yeah, as far as what was really cool, I mean, there were a lot of really cool builds. I mean, people brought it this year. So I saw a couple of arcs, which is always exciting, including a 2.0.
Okay.
In nylon, no less, like full arc, right? The Semi L was really cool. I enjoyed seeing that thing run. That thing was neat. The Bren, the 805, that was definitely high on my list of coolness. But one of the cool things that I saw this year, which kind of ties into something new we did this year, was it looked like Boba Fett's blaster, but it was a 22. Did you see that thing?
With a magnetic...
No. This one actually looked like Boba Fett's rifle.
Oh, no, that I didn't see it.
No, it looked like a Boba Fett, like a Mando blaster, but it was a 22 caliber. And he actually used it in the 22 side match.
Oh, cool.
Which is really awesome. Now, the 22 side match, I think Rob has dubbed it the Vindication match because only like half the guns, maybe less, like a third of the guns actually operated and were able to complete the course of fire. But, it was cool to see. Everybody try. But yeah, that one competed on the 22 course, and it was pretty cool to see work and operate. Of course, Darewood was out there with his latest too. He had the RTT9, which was fun to watch. I think Bitplum brought his out as well. But I think there were a couple of RTT9s out there in the course, which was cool to see.
Any MP5s?
Not printed ones. Vityaz brought his MP5K out at range day just to show off, but it was not printed. It was factory, but it was an SBR, so that was cool.
And so, what kind of
better
prizes
brands.
were awarded?
Honestly, I didn't really get to see the prize table because I was. Um,
Oh, I don't mean
oh,
like
oh,
swag. I
oh,
mean
oh,
like what kind of categories were there?
oh, categories. So we always split it down the middle, right? We have kit builds, which is the 80%, P80s, etc., and then we have printed. So then you have pistol, PCC, and rifle
Hmm.
on each side of that. So it's 6 total categories plus the 22 side match, plus the fully 3D printed side match if we had any. This year, nobody opted to do that because it is. We went back to the strict rule of only only barrels and springs are allowed to be traditional, firearm parts. Everything else has to be DIY.
Gotcha. So no harlots competing.
No harlots. No, there were a few harlots at the gamer house, and I think there was even one at range day, but I did not see anybody compete with one. No, that would be interesting to say the least.
Um, let's see. So now, are the materials was it like PLA plus, carbon fiber, nylon? What are we talking about there?
I'm sorry, for which one?
Like, what materials are people using? So in the beginning, was it
There's
like
still a
mostly
lot of
PLA?
PLA plus. Yeah, I mean, in the
Yeah.
beginning, we were telling people not to use silk. Like that's remember years ago, people were still trying to use like silk PLA to print guns with, and I think we're all pretty much in the same boat at this point. That's just not a material you can use for firearms. Um, Same with like PETG. I remember there was a big
Well,
push for
wait.
that at
When I
one point,
started printing guns, PETG was the thing to do, and I
which
was
is
like,
amazing to me. And I do remember that phase. I never used PETG for anything more than like
but
bag followers and like little
I
bits
mean,
and
it
pieces.
shattered. I mean, it
Yeah.
would.
Oh no, and it yeah, it breaks in not good ways.
Yeah.
So we were still seeing a lot of that year one. A lot of PLA plus, a lot of PLA. Hopefully it was PLA plus. Year two, I think we started to see more nylon. Like I've only been printing nylon since like right before Maker's Match 2, I think. Yeah, even before that, even I really just have only been doing nylon, especially for product like the final version. Um, this year we saw quite a few nylon builds, and I am going to attribute that to the bamboo. I know several people printed without the bamboo, but I'm going to say that there's more nylon out there now because the bamboo made it so push button to do.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, One of my favorites though had to be the Arc 2.0, which was I can picture his face. Give me a minute because
Yeah,
I don't have
well,
it
if it was print shoot repeat, you can't picture his face.
Well, I could actually because I've seen his face, but not who I was thinking of. And I apologize for even forgetting, but I have not
So
slept more than 3 hours in 2 weeks. So
was Vin there? Vin
Vin,
Win?
who?
Vin Win?
No, I don't think so. Or if he was, he didn't introduce himself.
Oh, okay. What about
Um,
Alex Control Pew?
no, they have not. I don't think either of them have been to any of them. Oh yeah, DeFizzles had a really cool prototype out there too. He had a cool, I think it was 9mm build that he was running with, and that thing was really sweet.
And Trollworks was there?
Trollworks was there. He had an arc. He was running a 1.0, an arc 1.0.
Yeah, and that one's full select fire, I should say, right?
It
Oh
was
wait, no, he's got a
binary.
2.0 that's
I think the 1.0 was binary or had a select fire binary option. I didn't ask a lot of questions because I know he has all his paperwork. Very clear about that.
yeah, I've got. Oh, hey, are you going to Pew Party
I
May
am.
6th? Oh,
Yeah,
okay, I'll meet you there. I'll bring my 50.
Well, I don't think we're really allowed to bring other stuff, right? They
I
provide
am.
they provide the guns.
I'm allowed to bring it.
I was Well, we'll talk later. I think there was some early information and some later information.
Okay, all right. So check with Jay.
So, yeah. Last I talked to him a couple of weeks ago, it was like there was a lot of stuff up in the air. So he said to follow up with him closer to the event. So
cool.
And I know Snow's coming, Orca's coming. I think Guns from the Grave is coming. We're actually going to have a huge 3D print contingent there.
Cool.
Which will be fun. Yeah. IPS was threatening to come down. I don't know if that's happening.
That would be fun.
That'll be neat.
It's like I met Snow in Vegas for about 30 seconds. He wasn't feeling good.
Oh. Was he not feeling good because he was hanging out with you, or?
Maybe he saw me walking up.
Prepared?
Yeah.
I have a rough sense of humor. I apologize.
And Snow said he's busy being a dad, so he can't come on.
Mm. That's fair.
So yeah, actually, Vegas, I met Zip for the first time.
Zip's a cool dude. Zip came up to GMM2. I don't think he was there for the first one, but he was there for the second one. He was tinkering and building arcs, like helping people finish their arcs or replace extractors.
Oh, cool.
Ejectors. Like the night before. So he had like toolboxes full of arc parts, like metal, replacement parts to help people get ready the night before. So that was fun.
I met Mrs. Zip and Zip, I don't know, a week or two ago. They came by for like a super brief visit.
Cool. Yeah, I've never met Mrs. Zip, but I, hung out with Zip a lot. We still talk pretty frequently. So,
yeah, I'm gonna want to pick your brains like after the show or something like that, or sometime in the future about the AUG build. Because I'm down to like the last few items I need, probably from McMaster Core or whatever.
Perfect. But yeah, we can definitely dig in on that.
So I did get to, I went to the Gathering and I shot a suppressed full auto AUG.
Wishap, that's his name. Wishap Fuel Filter did the full nylon build, and I give him a special credits because he did the full nylon arc on an Ender 3. So like a modded Ender 3, sure, but like an Ender 3, like that's
right.
And it looked clean.
All I gotta say is
brain finally connected the dots.
When I'm tired, it's like all of a sudden crap. Like when I'm at SHOT Show, if I walk right by you and diss you, it's only because my sleep disruption, all that bit.
Yeah, there's not a lot of sleeping at the gamer house. Never is, and every year I'm like, I'm not going to stay with I'm not going to stay there with everybody. I'm going to get a hotel or something because I always got to be up early to get there and help get things stood up and targets and check in. And every year I still do it, and I don't regret it, but there's not a lot of sleep.
Right. And you don't get a lot of sleep now anyhow. So
no, sleep is the foreign concept to me at this point.
So I've kind of, let's see, I actually have a second Bamboo P1P. I haven't unboxed it yet. But since I did get the Ender 7, which is a Core XY, but it's Ender 7 is by no means anything like a Bamboo.
No, but the Max K1 or whatever looks like it could be.
Is that a new Ender product?
Yeah, the K1 series, I guess, is their new flagship. It's Core XY, hardened nozzles, enclosed, blah blah blah. So
what's the price on that?
I think the Max is coming out at $999, which is $350 cubed. We'll call it P1 clone is $699, I think.
Oh, okay. So they're getting competitive.
$599, yeah. So it's a couple $100 cheaper on both, or like $100 to several $100 cheaper per model.
Ron Bears and they're $699.
Yeah. So they're in the same ballpark on price range. It'll be interesting to see what comes out of that. With who else has one? Quibi, whatever it is, the one that starts with a Q. They have some sort of bamboo clone. I don't know. There's like 4 or 5 that are in
Okay,
that same
cool.
push button category. I'm just calling them next gen because they really are the next
Yeah,
generation of printers.
yeah.
We had the early gen, which was like prototypes and stuff you had to buy at like Skycraft. Oh, nobody here knows what Skycraft is. Maybe Snow
I,
does.
I
But
don't know
nobody does. It's a
Skycraft.
local shop that has like old radios and bomb tech stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Where was it? Like in Minneapolis, there was a place like that.
Yeah, we have one right here. So, it's like you're like a fat kid in a candy shop if you do
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
DIY. But anyway, long story short, we had that prototype era, and then we had what we'll call like the Ender 3 era, where Ender 3 finally brought the
Mhm.
price down to where people could start buying them. And now we're migrating into this next generation of like you pull the printer out the box and you hit the button. And
Serious. I did a live unboxing of my bamboo, and very reasonably within 20 minutes at the beginning of the stream, it was printing.
so that's the thing is that all these next gen units are claiming 10 minutes from box to print.
Oh my
Hey, the
god!
man, the myth, the legend. I thought
What's up?
that you were replacing Tucker on Fox, or
Shh, you weren't supposed to mention that.
oh
No, I'm not like Tucker.
So, John, is it true, or can you neither confirm nor deny that you're interviewing for Tucker's position at Fox, and that's why you're late?
I can definitely deny that. No, I was doing my local hit on OAN that will air tonight at 9 p.m. on
So
Tipping
that's
Point with Karen McKinney.
Matt Hoover focused.
Matt Hoover and Justin Irvin, yeah, the auto key card. Yeah. Plus a little bit more about the ATF's testimony today in front of Congress.
How do you, Xander, I don't know if you saw that, but Doodlebug to every question was like, I don't know, I can get that for you. I'm like, I can do that job. I know I can do that job.
They're trained to do that, so they don't have to answer questions. What was really evident to me is that he didn't want to say that he was making millions of people felons. Every time they asked him, well, what happens if someone gets caught with one of these after the registration?
Take it off.
No, he's like, well, they could take it off, they could register. And he's like, no, why? What happens if they get caught with it? Well, they got to take it off, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, no, you're a felon.
Like, that's not what they're asking you, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's a lawyer, so he does that verbal jujitsu.
I'm watching this.
I'm wearing jeans. I'll show you what I'm.
You have flip flops on, or
yeah, basically. I got socks on.
I'm thinking about the brace issue, and I'm like, do I have a 3D printed brace on an AR9? I'm like, I might, and I gotta dig through, a gun safe to find the crap.
And where this affects us as printers and the DIY community is that even if you wanted to comply and you wanted to, like personally, I'm not registering anything. I'm just going to remove the braces, right? Because I just don't believe in registration on any level. But I'm just going to deal with that. But so if you wanted to register it, you still need a metal plate to register it because it's required from the ATF to have the serial number engraved in metal, right? You can't do it into plastic. Well, most of what we have doesn't even have metal, especially not on the exterior where it would comply with those, requirements. So it's particularly stupid for us.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to bring up. I have a couple of firearms where I have to move things around because I have a braced lower that was built for me 80%.
Well, my ARC 1.0, I've got the brace on it, so I'll have to destroy that and print a grip.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see if they come after like slings next, because we'll just go back to y'all remember the early days. I'm old enough to call it that, where you would just reverse brace with a sling, right?
Yes.
Like pre-brace days, you would just take your pistols or your AR pistols, and you would just brace them out with the sling.
I think the whole SBR in brace stuff is just ridiculous.
Well, yeah, I mean, nothing the ATF does is useful.
All right. So something I was like ready to fall out of my chair on is Doodlebug kept saying, well, we're making it easier to comply with or easier to understand or easy. I'm like, did you read this stuff?
Yeah, it's about as clear as mud. All I know for sure is if you keep exercising your rights, they're going to kick in your door and kill your dog. So,
Yep, basically. Puppy killers. They kill more dogs than PETA.
Ooh, ouch, ouch. And believe it or not, that's what PETA does.
PETA kills more dogs than all kill shelters across the country combined.
Because they think it's like servitude to have a dog as a pet.
Well.
Yeah, one time Rich butt dialed me in the morning, and I hear, "Come here, doggy. Come here, doggy. You want to go out, doggy? You want to go out, doggy?" And I'm dying laughing.
That's great. But
Joe's like, yeah, I'll put it on. I'm like, I don't care. I'm like,
honestly, at this point, though, having pending legislation over our heads is probably just a good luck charm because every time we have a makers match, there's some sort of pending legislation. The year one, we had the assault weapons ban. They were trying to push that really heavy through Congress, which it failed. Year two, we had Florida was trying to ban DIY firearms. They were trying to push a bill through. I'm sure you remember that, Rich, where they were saying, we're going to block you from building anything at home, especially 3D printed. That failed. That got withdrawn. This year we have the pending brace ban, which is supposed to take effect next month or in a few days.
May 31st.
Yeah. So hopefully that'll fail in short order as well. But every year it's something.
So
I remember last year people were panicking. They're like, "Well, Florida's going to outlaw," and we're like, "Let's wait and see." This year everybody was going, "Can we still use braces?" I'm like, "Well, up until the deadline, yeah, absolutely."
Yeah. What the first makers match there was Vice Media there. Anybody any good media coverage or?
This year we had we had Out of Battery Live, which we actually partnered with. They did a ton of media. I'm seeing lots of. I think somebody was using terabytes worth of footage from the event, which is going to be awesome. So we're going to see that trickle out from the Out of Battery crew for the next forever, probably. And then we had the Commando blog was there. They tend to cover a lot of DIY projects and homebrews, but nobody from
was NBC there.
No NBC. Honestly, it seems like because they're pushing so hard to just ban guns altogether, they've lost interest in the DIY piece of it.
You might be right.
And I'm hoping that's the case because, as the match demonstrates, it's really just a fun hobby. It's not recluse trying to overthrow the government. Or there again, I'll use that 95.5% rule. Most of us are just out there to build cool stuff.
Right. Now, were there any launchers there?
There were launchers. We don't have them in the event proper as of yet. Still trying to figure out a way to include that safely. But several people did bring their launchers both the day before and the day after to show them off. And everybody loves a good launcher. Now, we did have a couple of signaling devices, quote unquote, at range day. I'm sure some of you, if not all of you, have seen the video of Pincus setting off one of the signaling targets, as they call them, with his PD-10. Actually, no, that was a 3D PD-10. That was one of the printed ones. That was not a factory gun. So, but that had quite a pop. It does emit quite a signal.
If somebody says one car fast says NBC Ralph. So how is leading the world, being the president of 3D printing, going for you?
One of these days, you are going to get me in trouble with that.
Well, you invented 3D printing, right?
Yes, I
3D
did.
printing. You
Single-handedly
3D
back in the
printed the
90s.
first gun.
Yes, absolutely. But no,
You,
honestly,
the
I'm just trying to
pre-liberator.
drag more and more people. So there are still people in the community that think that this should be small and like super secret and nobody talks about it. But I think the cat's out of the bag at this point. Everybody knows about it. So I think the more people we can get involved, the better. Um, so as long as I'm at least trying to move, as long as I'm helping to move that bar in the more people direction, then I'm happy in whatever capacity that is.
Yeah, that would be cool. I saw some guy 3D printing quarters and filling
Yeah,
gumball machines.
there's a bunch of quarters and like the Aldi's carts. I've seen people with like Aldi's key carts or cart keys
Yeah.
where you just pop it in and you can. You guys ever been to Aldi's? No, am I talking
Oh,
about something?
is that how you get the shopping cart
Yeah, yeah, I've seen that done
instead
before
of a
too.
quarter?
Yeah,
They allow you to get the shopping cart.
Yeah, because
They,
that's
they
because your
don't lock it
neighborhood,
up.
nobody's going to steal them.
I saw somebody one day post that they were like, "Guys, they're selling shopping carts for 25 cents. You can take them to the scrapyard and they'll give you $100." I was like, I don't think that's how that works, but you know.
Yeah, well, we were like, I lost a light on my car one time because the safe at Safeway, they when they have the giant all the carts when they're branding them all up, they have like hundreds of carts. The guy ran my car by accident and broke my my light, and their excuse was, well, the carts aren't actually ours; they're just there for people to use.
Holy crap!
My friend and I got a truck and we started loading them up, and that changed real quick.
Now, can we use that at like the range? Can we have community braces? Oh well, those aren't our braces. They're just there to use.
They're
Yeah,
just
but
there
yeah,
to use.
they changed their mind when we started loading up the carts, and we're like, we're taking them. They're not yours. You said they're not yours.
You were very
They're
clear about
community.
that. Yeah.
That they're for whoever. So we're using them. We're taking them, and then then they called the police.
Did you get your taillight fixed?
My headlight, yeah. I think my point was made. But I was, found out I was gonna have to give up the carts. And I would have taken all of them and just like stored them in my backyard and just let them sit there.
Comments are great today.
Yeah.
So
who was sponsoring the event? I guess JSD, right?
JSD is always there. JSD, Jordan, Bob. They've been some of our biggest supporters from day one. I think that might have been like the second or third phone call after Rob and Edgar and I were like, "Yeah, let's do this." I think Jordan might have been like the third call. So we had Def Cab, obviously 80% Arms. I mentioned we partnered with the Out of Battery guys. They sponsored with their time, mostly time and equipment. FPC is always a sponsor.
Cool.
Yeah, 2A3D. You guys all know Matt. Yeah. Brown Coat Tactical, which they were new this year. They do a lot of soft goods, belts, vests.
You said Brown Coat Tactical?
Yeah, Brown Coat Tactical.
Are they a Firefly fan?
Oh, big time. Yeah, Luke's
I didn't get the reference.
Yeah, well, not a lot of people do, to be fair. Like, that's a pretty, obscure reference, but yeah, he's a huge fan. He actually came up. He had a booth. He was meeting people and hanging out, and that was cool.
I used to have a company called Outer Planet Production.
Okay.
So that was a Firefly.
Another Firefly reference. Yeah.
The Outer Planets was like the Wild West.
Yeah, it's a great.
Yeah, the core planets,
series.
which were
ended too early.
Civilized.
FOAC was out. FOA.
and
another additional sponsor, and then Avidity Arms, which was they actually had kits out on the prize table. So a couple of people went home with 3D P10 kits, which is very rare right now. We'll be seeing some of those show up at JSD, I think, next week. But those were the first two people to get them outside of the dev team. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. They are, I mean, I got to hand it to them. It is the first manufacturer to release their CAD with the intention of people DIYing the gun. And I'm really hoping other manufacturers see that and go, hey, we should do that too, because that would make all of our lives as in the home building space a lot easier.
Well, and I think some people will buy a product just because they want to support the company and what they're doing. Like, hey, if they're designing cool stuff, some people will buy it. Some people are never going to buy anything, and they're just
those are the options: is either buy it or don't buy it. Yes.
Yeah, but there are people you're never going to get money from.
Oh yeah. Oh well, that's always the case. Yeah. PLA's
like copying 52 floppy disks,
Well, yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah, you know what? I want to talk about. The dental block thing today. Just really quick. Did you notice when they asked him, well, can you just have a buffer tube? And he was like, well, they're gonna have to send it in to
everything was sent it in. That was his answer.
But they've always said that you can have a buffer tube. Now he's on record saying that you have to send it in.
Well, that was a rule long ago. Like we were always. I mean, everybody always had buffer tubes, and you could even have the little spongy thing on the the rubber.
Yeah. Foam rubber. But he said, but he said you had to send it in now.
I think it's just because he doesn't want to answer a question, any question, no matter what the question is.
Yeah.
Because and we do this to ourselves, because what we're going to do is say, oh, well, he said we could have a buffer tube. Well, that's not a stock, that's a buffer tube. It's just really thick,
Yeah, well, I'm surprised that they asked him, are you Steve Dettelbach? Well, I'm going to have to go and talk to my people. I can get back to you.
Back to you on that. Or you could just send it in and we could figure out if it's a Steve Doodlebug.
Except that they stopped issuing letters on accessories forever ago, right?
No, you would have to send in a whole rifle.
Or
not rifle, pistol.
A whole device. You have to send the whole thing. Whole kit and caboodle.
The whole thing attached. But then if they determine if it's a SBR, then you don't really get it back. So there's that.
That's my biggest conflict or biggest issue with this rule change, because wasn't there wording in there saying that if you submit it for the form, I guess it'd be a form 1, right? So if you submit it and they say no, now you've sent them everything. You sent them your name, your address, what you own, what it looks like, pictures of it. And they're going, yeah, no, that's illegal. So like what happens then if they deny your stamp? Because government's really not known for their quickness with paperwork. So if they deny it and they come to collect it before you get paperwork, yeah, exactly.
Well, my friend got denied like 3 times in a row for it is regular form 1 because the ATF just kept on running over the 88 days. I mean, there's nothing to prevent them.
Yeah, didn't they say if it goes too long, it's just automatically denied?
Well, once the ATF submits it to the NICS system, to NICS to get ran, the NICS can only hold a document for 88 days, a background check for 88 days. If it's not done within the 88 days, then they returned it's like a non-return, right?
Yeah.
Incomplete.
We need to hold up though.
Under the GCA, then after that point, it's automatically approved, or you can automatically transfer it. But under the NFA, you have to have that approval back before they can transfer it. And I know some people are like, "Oh, that hardly happens," but I got a friend that it's happened to multiple times, and I think this is his third time, and this is the first time they got it through. 2 times it was delayed, and he contacted the FBI, and the FBI was like, "Yeah, we just didn't get to it." So he submitted again, and they went 88 days. I'm like, "Yeah, we just didn't get to it." And he could never understand and never got word back why it was taking him so long to go 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 through Nix.
Well,
Um,
if it continues down this path and the rule holds, which I personally don't think it will, I think it's just a matter of time before somebody successfully fights it. But um, we're probably going to have to call GMM4 like the bullpup year or something because we're already seeing a lot of bullpups in development. So probably end up with a lot of those next year for competition purposes.
yeah, but
Well,
it's
I
just
I want to
ridiculous.
I want to design and put an arm brace for my PS90 so that I can shorten the barrel for free.
It's been done.
Well, it's already too late. It's once that rule went into effect, that was it.
Womp womp.
Wah, wah,
Um,
wah.
womp womp.
Well, I think I got that sound.
But yeah, hopefully that all just goes away. Or we're going to see a lot more rifles and bullpups next year, which, that's okay too. There it is. He found the soundboard.
Yeah. Yeah. What's really funny is on December 27th, I submitted 3 SBRs. I got 2 back, and the third one is still sitting out there. And that's the one I really, really want to do.
That
Like
doesn't sound funny.
not like
That sounds
endlessly,
sad.
but just like what's that?
I said that doesn't sound funny. That sounds sad.
It is. It's very sad. I cry every night. I just go click on the Form 1 thing to see if it's approved, and
Do we have
it's
a
just there.
do we have an over under on the short act or whatever they're calling it making it through?
It's not going to make it through this time. I mean, even if it does, it's going to get vetoed by the president. But what
Do we
you
have a
do is
president?
you keep on introducing it until, so once you build co-sponsors, you get more co-sponsors every single time. You get more and more co-sponsors. And then the hope is once you get the majority in the Senate, the House, and you get the White House, then you can get it through. So it's not going to pass this time, but there's a method to the madness.
I don't think there is anymore because if we had a moment to get any of this stuff done, it probably would have been under Trump, and that just went backwards. He banned more stuff than Obama did. So
Yeah, that's why they don't like Trump.
yeah.
Rich is a big fan, though.
Yeah, I'm very much in the camp of I really don't care what your politics is as long as you're okay with me building guns at home.
Exactly.
Right.
Rich is one of those MAGA Republicans that we heard
Ultra
so much
MAGA.
about today.
Get it right.
Ultra
Ultra
MAGA
MAGA.
Republicans.
No,
that's
he's
what it was.
gonna switch camps to DeSantis if he runs.
I'm still gonna back Paul. I back Paul every single election that he ran it.
He's still
What was that, Rand Paul?
Rand Paul, not Ron Paul. Rand Paul, his son, not Ron Paul.
Oh, okay. He's still around.
Rand Paul, his son.
There again, talk about screaming into a void.
Yeah, he's good on all the issues I care about. So
Yeah. I don't know.
every primary I go vote for him, and it just
I
never
grew up
worked.
in politics, so to me, I was always trained the third party is just pulling votes. And
Well,
so
Rand
far
Paul's
it's been true.
Republican.
Huh?
Rand Paul's a Republican.
Is he?
Well, he runs as a Republican.
Yeah. But does the GOP back him?
Hell no.
So might as well be third party at that point.
Yeah, that's true.
Either you have the machine behind you or you don't. And that's really what it's come down to since what? 60s?
beyond that. Like
Probably.
it was always that way
What was that?
since the
No, well, no,
beginning.
TR made it, but you had to go back far enough.
TR didn't. TR lost his last re-election bid. You got to remember.
But he still made it to president.
He made it to president, but then he lost the back. But when he were the first two times that he ran, he had the backing of the establishment. The third time he ran, he didn't. You look going back
So
to
you
like
gotta go back
Thomas
even
Jefferson. Yeah, Thomas. Even like I would say George Washington was the last president. But
No,
but
even he had the
he had
establishment. They wanted to make him
Yeah.
king. So really, you just
yeah.
you
But
had to
what I'm
have
saying,
the cronies on board, I guess, is really what it comes down to.
yeah, but like people talk about, oh, the elections are dirty. Elections have always been dirty. They have always been negative. If you look at Jefferson versus Adams, right? Jefferson took a full page out in the Philadelphia Post, I think it was, or Philadelphia Times, stating that Adams was a hermaphrodite. I'm serious.
I know the good old days.
I know that's true. So you think like no, there's never been anybody as low as fill in the blank, and then it's like, oh my gosh.
Thomas Jefferson called his opponent a hermaphrodite, and not only that, took a full page ad out saying, "Would you want to vote for a hermaphrodite?" I mean, it was totally false, but
I know you are, but what am I? I mean, what? How do you know? You've seen it? I mean, what?
the elections back in those days were dirty. I mean, they would just outright effing lie and take
as
take
opposed to
full page
today.
ads out.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, this guy wants to do this."
Well, I mean, they do it today. They're like, Republicans want to kick Granny push her over a cliff. Yeah, push Granny over a cliff. They want to end Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, steal money from your public schools. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
like Adams, Jefferson. That was bad. Jefferson hired a guy specifically. What was his name? James Callender. James Callender's only job was to make shit up about Adams.
Yeah, now we call those campaign managers.
Yeah.
Now they have an official position.
Yeah.
I mean,
but
James Callender also took out an ad saying Adams wants to declare war on France.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, we're
Which
a day.
he
I
never
think
did.
is it 802, 803 of Build Back Better, and I'm just like waiting.
Huh?
It's I think it's day 802 of Build Back Better.
Yeah, but I mean, it's funny if you just look up like James Callender, because this dude would like come up with the wildest shit. He was like, yeah.
Better
He
than
says he's gonna
Hermaphrodite?
no. He said he looked at he went and said Adams was telling people that on the first day in office, if he gets elected, he's gonna declare war on France and send people to invade France. And the colon and like Americans back then were like, "Oh my God, we can't go to war against France. I don't want to be sent to Europe." And Adams is like, "I never said that. What the hell are you talking about? Why would we even attack France? They're our allies." But people believed it, and that was like the birth of like negative campaigns.
What is the phrase, the cliche of a lie will travel around the world before the truth gets its shoes on, something like that?
Yeah, well, get this. Adams also took out an ad saying that Jefferson was banging what Sally Hemings? Was that her name?
Sounds familiar.
his he's banging Sally Hemings was one of his slaves. So Adams took a big was taking front page ads out in like newspapers saying Jefferson's banging a black chick, which was kind of true, but
Yeah, I think we have evidence of that at this point.
yeah,
Ancestors and such. But
yeah, and he
sorry, I
was
had to
like,
check on
no,
my. I'm printing my new PD10 with scales on it because I can.
yeah. I mean, there was a lot of dirty tricks back then. No politician has been uh clean ever.
So when did conspiracy theory vernacular come into being?
The 70s. The CIA made it up.
Yeah.
No, literally, like the CIA invented the. They coined the term conspiracy theory to discount.
What they were doing?
Well, really, any questions about their activities? Yeah.
The Glomar Explorer, that's a conspiracy theory. What are you talking about? He's going to
Yeah.
be mining minerals on the bottom of the ocean. We don't know
Yeah,
what
the
that
term-
guy Hughes is doing.
Yeah, the term conspiracy theory didn't exist before the 70s. Maybe it was late 60s. I don't know. John probably knows better than I do, but
I think it was
somewhere around the time, probably plus or minus 5 years after or before JFK getting assassinated.
Yeah, I mean it was around before. It was just not in wide use until the 70s. But I'm gonna read you something that actually I'm not gonna read it. I'm gonna do it from memory. Okay, there was a saying, "Mama, where's my pa? Gone to the White House, ha ha ha." That was from Grover Cleveland campaign, where they accused Grover Cleveland of because like his opponent said, Grover Cleveland, man, I know for a fact that he has 5 illegitimate sons,
For a fact.
and they made that up, which was a total lie too.
It's a fact, Jack.
You mean like Harry Reid?
Yeah. Yeah. Then you got how about the campaign ad against Barry Goldwater, where they have the little girl picking daisies with Lyndon B. Johnson,
Yes.
and get hit by a nuclear bomb because he's like Barry Goldwater wants to have a nuclear war with Russia, which wasn't true.
Right. They're very powerful, persuasive ad.
Oh, good
Yeah.
question, PLA. What do you mean by a X, like a longer grip? Because it's already a 10-round grip. Like it's a full size grip.
Yeah.
Oh, Johnny Barr says armed attorneys are talking about Matt and Justin's case.
Dude, I love those guys. I thought they were a married couple.
They're not married?
No, they're friends. They're best friends. They're both married,
What?
but they're not married to each other.
What? Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
And now you know that thing.
And they travel around the country to events with each other. Like, man, your husband and your husband and your wife must have a lot of trust.
Well, armed attorneys premiere.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna get out of here, guys.
It's time.
Yeah, I mean, we were going to call it anyway here 15 minutes ago. So
All right. Well, I love you, Kron.
I love you too,
Xander.
buddy. I always appreciate coming on. It's always a good time.
Yeah, you have a sexy beard.
I try, you know.
All right. Beard shaming us all. Okay.
Rich,
I got no sexy beard.
you look like a turtle.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Turtle. You should come on with a turtleneck.
I'll have to do that.
I'm just joking.
Man
All right,
Against the Masses
guys.
will take care of that.
Yes, Man Against the Masses have already photoshopped me in the back of
Doodle
behind
bug.
Dettelbach saying F the
Yeah, I
ATF.
saw that. That was good. I like that.
Yeah. Support Justin and Matt. Do you have the links to drop?
Oh, I always have the links to drop.
I did talk.
Cool.
I was in communications with Matt earlier today. He's hanging in there. He said the first day was rough, but he said he's getting accommodated. Apparently, the people in there know who he is. So
I
they're all
asked
like, "Hey,
Matt
what's
if the
up?"
first day he found the biggest guy and like just knocked him down. He's like, yeah, it's
No,
not like
no. I guess everyone likes him because they know who he is. So they think it's kind of cool.
he's social media famous.
Yeah. Whatever, dude. Use whatever you need, man. But yeah, I know we've all been in contact and stuff like that. It's
Actually,
it's
Xander,
a
you're in
brave new
Jacksonville,
world.
right?
What's that?
I am not.
No?
No, I'm in Orlando. I'm halfway.
Oh, Orlando. Wait,
Yeah.
is snow in Jacksonville? Who's in
Snow
Jacksonville?
isn't either. No.
It's not
Snow's-
snowing in Jacksonville. What the hell are you talking about?
Snow's a little north of me, but he's
Oh, okay.
not that far.
And Informer. You know that song Informer?
No.
Yeah.
Anyone? There was a rapper called Snow,
Oh, okay.
and he used to sing the song Informer. You have no idea what you're talking about?
I think I know the song
7 seconds. That's what we have here. Give me 1 second here.
before we lose our.
No. Play Informer by Snow. Hold on.
Everybody's waiting, John. No pressure. All right, no, I don't know that one. All right, stop. Stop, Grumpy. Come on. Oh wait, I do know the song. I do know.
I knew you did.
Yeah, no,
Licky
you got to
boom
do
boom
like
now.
Biden. What's the one where he's playing the song in Spanish? Oh, that's my favorite song. It's like you've never heard that before.
All right, guys. You can follow Rich at Flying Rich Firearms on YouTube, Flying Rich on YouTube, Flying Rich on MySpace, Flying Rich on OnlyFans, and Flying Rich on the Hub, where he makes video with our next guest, Xander. Xander, where can people find you?
I'm Kron on everything. Please go follow the Gunmakers match as well. That's where you're going to get a lot of updates and news about any future events, as well as a lot of the media that we shot over the course of the weekend. So,
yeah, follow the guys over at Out of Battery
Out of Battery Live.
Out of Battery Live. It's a great
I'm on
podcast.
Odyssey. I'm on nearly everything video can be played on.
Yeah,
Odyssey, Rumble.
Follow Out of Battery Live.
Utron.
Support the 3D printing community, because those are the people that are going to be defeating gun control. Those are the guys that make gun control useless, because there's no way you can have gun control with 3D printing.
yeah, I keep saying that we've already killed gun control. Now we're just playing with our food.
Well, what do you think about this? Printing out a Glock with soluble filament, even though that it won't like hold up, it might get one shot off, but that's all. Never mind.
Well, I mean, even PLAs. I mean, you can do ABS, and that's dropping in a thing of like alcohol. It'll dissolve pretty quickly.
That is true.
So
All right. Well,
but yeah,
I'm
we
going
could
to
do the
stop right
water.
there before we give people
Yeah,
ideas,
I
and
know.
then they're like, "Oh my God, he's teaching criminals."
We're gonna yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys.
You mean the what is not the Whole Earth Catalog? What is it? The Anarchist Cookbook didn't teach criminals enough.
Oh, there's a name I haven't heard in a while, but
I'm gonna post a whole anarchist cookbook on my website
there you go.
along with the Ludi machine gun. I'm
I
gonna
don't
just
think I've
start.
seen that. The Ludi is great. So simple, so elegant.
Yeah, I got a site called Free New Media, and I'm going to redesign that and just start throwing up
I like
free
it.
speech
Can you
documents.
do 3D printable jigs for the Ludi?
There are already.
Oh, okay.
They exist.
Oh, all right.
All right, guys.
All
I
right.
love you guys.
Talk to y'all later.
Hi, Crumpy.